Human, please do not open that door. Noah Carter froze with one hand wrapped around a pressure wrench and the other resting against a maintenance hatch that absolutely should not have been talking to him. Horizon 9 hummed around his boots, a 12-mile-wide Earth orbital station held together by titanium ribs, aging software, and technicians who had stopped believing management when it used the word temporary. A red warning light pulsed above Noah's head. Oxygen pressure, 38%. Somewhere behind the wall, someone breathed too quickly. Noah leaned closer. You know, normally the walls just leak. Silence. This is new. The voice returned, softer. Walk away, human. Noah looked at the pressure gauge. Lady, my oxygen system is at 38%. Get in line. He released the hatch lock. Do not. Noah pulled the door open. Blue emergency light spilled into the narrow service cavity. A girl stared back at him. No. Not a girl from Earth. Her skin was cobalt mixed with turquoise, smooth beneath the cold station light. Silver-white hair fell around a face that was beautiful in a way Noah's brain needed an extra second to understand. Her cheekbones extended slightly too far toward her temples. Her nose bridge was short and unusually flat. Large golden eyes held 3 thin rings inside each iris, all contracting at different speeds. 2 pale lines beneath her temples gave off a faint blue-white glow. Definitely alien. Definitely hiding. She wore dark metallic clothing with half the identification threads burned black. Around her wrist sat a narrow silver band covered in symbols Noah did not recognize. Noah stared. She stared back. Well, he said. That explains the wall. Her golden eyes narrowed. Close the door. I need the secondary pressure valve behind you. Find another valve. There is no other valve. Then your station is poorly designed. Noah nodded. Finally, something we agree on. The alien girl looked past him toward the corridor. Her glowing temple lines brightened. Fear, Noah realized. He knew fear in machines. It sounded like a bearing turning too fast. In people, apparently, it could glow. Footsteps echoed from the upper access deck. Heavy. Measured. Not station maintenance. Noah checked the time on his wrist display. 2:13 in the morning. Nobody from administration walked that confidently at 2:13 in the morning. Are they looking for you? He asked. No. Noah raised an eyebrow. You are a poor liar. I am an excellent liar. That was worse. The footsteps grew louder. The alien girl's breathing changed. Noah looked at the pressure valve behind her, then at the warning display above the hatch. 37%. He sighed. Move your left shoulder. Why? Because I need to save 8,000 people from waking up with headaches, and apparently you live in my oxygen system now. She hesitated, then shifted. Noah climbed into the cavity beside her. The space was barely 4 feet wide. He reached past a coolant pipe and turned the valve 1/4 rotation. Metal vibrated through his gloves. 39%. 42. 48. There, Noah whispered. The footsteps stopped outside. A sharp electronic tone sounded. Someone was scanning the corridor. The alien girl's golden eyes fixed on Noah. If they find me, she whispered, your life becomes inconvenient. Noah looked at her burned identification threads, her glowing face, and the silver band around her wrist. My vending machine charged me $9 for coffee yesterday. The scan moved closer. I think we passed inconvenient. Noah reached back and quietly pulled the maintenance hatch closed. Darkness surrounded them. Only the faint lines on her temples remained visible, glowing beside him like 2 frightened stars. The scanner paused outside. Noah held still. So did she. Then every display on Horizon 9 changed at once. Even through the sealed wall, Noah saw red light flood beneath the hatch. A station-wide alarm sounded. The alien girl closed her eyes. Noah's wrist display flashed a new message. Imperial vessels detected. Orbital approach in progress. Noah slowly looked at her. You want to tell me your name? Her three-ringed eyes opened. Seraya. Outside Horizon 9, hundreds of lights appeared against the curve of Earth. Noah listened to the station computer count incoming ships until it ran out of identification codes. He looked back at the alien hiding beside his oxygen valve. Seraya, he whispered, you forgot to mention the fleet. Noah waited until the scanner passed before he opened the maintenance hatch again. The corridor outside glowed red beneath emergency lights, and Horizon 9's ventilation fans had shifted into lockdown mode, pushing recycled air through the station with a low mechanical roar. Seraya remained inside the service cavity. You can come out, Noah said. That is exactly what they expect. Who is they? People you should avoid. Helpful. Noah checked the pressure display. Oxygen had stabilized at 51% and was climbing. Good enough to prevent 8,000 angry messages from reaching his supervisor before breakfast. He closed his tool pouch and looked at Seraya. I have a maintenance room 2 decks down. No cameras. Bad lighting. Worse coffee. Her 3-ringed golden eyes narrowed. Why are you helping me? Noah glanced at the empty corridor. People who are safe do not hide behind oxygen tanks. Seraya said nothing. Noah started walking. After 3 seconds, he heard her footsteps behind him. They moved through service passages designed for pipes, cargo drones, and technicians too underpaid to complain about low ceilings. Noah knew every blind sensor and every door that needed 2 pushes instead of 1. Seraya followed without speaking, though the pale lines along her temples remained bright. The atmospheric maintenance room was 12 feet wide and smelled like warm dust. 3 carbon scrubber monitors occupied one wall. A vending machine leaned against another. Noah tapped the coffee button. The machine displayed $9. Criminal, he muttered. Seraya studied the room. You live here? Work here. There is a difference? Noah looked at his 8-year-old boots. Management says yes. The vending machine dropped a paper cup. Noah took 1 sip and regretted every decision that had led him to it. Seraya stood near an old portable heater vibrating beside the wall. That device is failing. I know. Replace it. Still works. It produces heat inconsistently and makes an unpleasant sound. Still works. Seraya looked at him as if humans had personally offended physics. It is broken. Noah crouched beside the heater and removed the side panel. Broken is not the same as worthless. The room became quiet. Noah adjusted a loose contact and tightened 2 screws. When he looked up, Seraya was staring at him. Not the heater. Him. What? He asked. Nothing. Her temple lines dimmed. Noah replaced the panel. Warm air began flowing evenly. See? Primitive. Warm primitive. Seraya moved closer to the heater. Noah pretended not to notice. A station announcement interrupted them. All personnel remain in assigned sectors. Imperial inspection teams will begin controlled access procedures. Seraya's shoulders tightened. Noah saw it immediately. They really want you. Yes. Why? That is complicated. I fix atmospheric processors. Complicated is my whole personality. For half a second, Seraya almost smiled. Then every monitor in the room went black. Noah stood. A silver symbol appeared across all 3 screens. The Imperial transmission replaced station controls. A face formed in pale holographic light. Seraya's face. The same cobalt turquoise skin. The same silver white hair. The same impossible golden eyes. Noah slowly turned toward her. Text appeared beneath the image. Seraya Venn. Imperial successor. Priority royal recovery. Noah looked at the screen. Then at Seraya. Then back at the screen. You forgot to mention the Empire. Seraya folded her arms. You did not ask. I asked your name. Something changed in her expression. The faint light along her temples cooled. In my world, she said quietly, those are not the same question. Noah stopped smiling. The transmission continued. Seraya Venn had disappeared 3 days before the Imperial Ascension ceremony. Any person providing shelter was ordered to report immediately. Noah read the message twice. Ascension. Seraya looked away. I was supposed to inherit the Averin Empire. Supposed to? Yes. Noah leaned against the vending machine. How many worlds? 1,206. The machine beside him demanded $9 for another coffee. Noah stared at Seraya. And you are hiding in my air vents. Maintenance cavity. Thank you for protecting the dignity of the situation. The station speakers announced that Imperial inspectors had entered Deck 1. Noah's maintenance room was on Deck 3. Seraya looked toward the door. Noah looked at the old heater. Broken was not the same as worthless. He hated that his own words had suddenly become relevant. All right, he said, picking up his tool pouch. We need somewhere quieter. Seraya stared at him. You know who I am now. Yeah. And you are still helping me. Noah opened a service panel leading deeper into Horizon 9. Do not make it weird. Seraya followed him into the dark. Behind them, her royal face remained on every screen in the station. The service tunnel narrowed until Noah had to turn sideways to move between coolant pipes. Behind him, Seraya followed with considerably less patience. Your station was designed by enemies of comfort, she whispered. Budget Committee. I do not know this species. Be grateful. Noah reached a junction panel and checked his wrist display. Imperial inspection teams had entered Deck 2. Horizon 9's internal map showed sealed corridors spreading outward in neat silver lines. The Averin were efficient. Noah disliked efficient people before sunrise. He opened a circular hatch and climbed into an abandoned thermal control room. Seraya entered after him. The room had not been used in 6 years. Dust covered the consoles. A single emergency lamp produced weak yellow light. Noah sealed the hatch. We have maybe 20 minutes. Seraya stood perfectly straight despite having crawled through 200 feet of maintenance tunnel. 23. Noah looked at her. Excuse me? Their search pattern. They will reach this sector in 23 minutes. Royal education? Basic tactical analysis. I learned algebra twice. Seraya almost smiled again. Noah noticed. He wished he had not. Smiles complicated things. He crossed to an old console and connected his maintenance terminal. Seraya watched him work. You are not afraid of me. Should I be? Most humans become uncomfortable around Imperial authority. Noah glanced at her dark metallic clothing and burned identification threads. You are currently hiding in a room that smells like old filters. I remain the Imperial successor. Congratulations. Her temple lines brightened. Noah was beginning to understand that color. Irritation. You are remarkably disrespectful. You are remarkably wanted. The console came alive. Noah searched the station network. Seraya's image covered every public channel. Imperial successor. Priority royal recovery. Ascension ceremony delayed. Noah leaned closer. 3 days. Seraya went still. What? The report says you disappeared 3 days before ascension. Yes. You were going to inherit 1,206 worlds, and 3 days before that happened, you climbed onto a cargo transport to Earth. Seraya looked toward the emergency lamp. It was not a cargo transport. That is your correction. It was a diplomatic courier. Much more dignified. Noah disconnected his terminal. Why did you run? Seraya's golden eyes shifted toward him. All 3 iris rings contracted. I did not run. You hid behind my oxygen valve. Strategic concealment. Seraya. The room became quiet. Noah heard air moving through the old vents. 12 cubic feet per second. Slight bearing vibration. Nothing urgent. Seraya lowered her gaze. Ascension is permanent. Most job promotions are. It is not employment. I know. Do you? Her voice sharpened. From the moment I complete ascension, my movements belong to the Imperial Council. My biological records become state property. My schedule is approved 12 years in advance. Every conversation is archived. Every personal association is evaluated. Noah stopped leaning against the console. Seraya continued before he could speak. The person I will eventually bond with has already been selected. You mean Mary? Your word is imprecise. Still sounds like Mary. The silver lines on her face dimmed. He was selected before I was 14. Noah stared at her. Something in his chest shifted. Not pity. He hated pity. It was closer to recognizing a locked door because he spent his life repairing doors. So you left, he said. I delayed. By crossing half a solar system. A temporary delay. You are terrible at lying. Seraya looked at him. You have mentioned that. A soft alarm sounded on Noah's wrist. Inspection teams had reached Deck 3. 14 minutes. Noah picked up his tools. We move now. Seraya did not. Noah. He turned. It was the first time she had used his name. He had not realized she remembered it. Why are you still here? She asked. Technically, this is my station. You understand my question. Noah looked at her. Imperial successor. 1,200 worlds. A face on every screen. Yet the girl standing beneath the weak emergency lamp looked less like royalty than anyone he had ever met. You asked me not to report you, he said. That is not an answer. It is the one you get. He opened the hatch. Seraya watched him for another second, then followed. As Noah entered the tunnel, every emergency lamp changed from yellow to blue. A new announcement moved through Horizon 9. Imperial blockade established. All civilian departures suspended. Noah stopped. Seraya stopped behind him. Outside the station windows, 1,206 worlds waited for their future ruler. Inside a dark maintenance tunnel, that ruler whispered one sentence. They know I chose Earth. The emergency thermal compartment had been designed for 6 minutes of use and one person at a time. Noah discovered both facts after sealing himself inside with Seraya. This is unacceptable, she whispered. You said that about the service tunnel. The service tunnel had air. Noah checked the manual gauge beside his shoulder. Oxygen reserve sat at 46%. Temperature was 53 degrees Fahrenheit and falling. A ventilation fault had shut down thermal circulation across the lower maintenance ring, which meant the compartment's metal walls were slowly borrowing heat from everything inside them. Including Noah. Including Seraya. Good news, he said. I dislike your good news. We have oxygen. And the bad news? We are using it. Seraya stared at him. Her 3 golden iris rings contracted. Noah had learned that expression quickly. Human humor is inefficient. Keeps us warm. It does not. Emotionally. An Imperial bioscan moved through the corridor outside. Blue light passed beneath the compartment door. Noah stopped speaking. Seraya did the same. The scanner emitted 3 soft tones. Noah watched the mechanical gauge. 45%. The blue light paused. Seraya's temple markings brightened sharply. Fear. Noah looked at her face, then deliberately looked away. She deserved at least that small privacy. The scanner moved on. Noah released his breath. 11 minutes until the next sweep. Seraya shifted against the opposite wall. 17 inches separated their knees. Noah knew because the compartment specifications were printed beside his head. Clearance width, 17 inches. Someone had considered that useful information. Do humans always speak when frightened? Seraya asked. No. You have spoken continuously. Sometimes we make coffee. That substance is not a solution. You have been on Earth property for 3 hours and already insulted coffee twice. I am observant. Noah smiled. Then he noticed Seraya rubbing her hands together. The silver-blue lines along her temples had faded. Her breathing was slower, but not calm. Cold, he realized. Averin body temperature ran higher than human temperature according to the emergency medical database he had skimmed years ago. He opened his tool pouch and removed a thermal pack. 1 left. Noah activated it. Chemical heat spread through the flexible material. He handed it to her. Seraya looked down. And yours? I am wearing a jacket. That is not what I asked. It is the answer you get. She did not take the pack. Noah placed it beside her hand. Seraya. Noah. You are turning blue. Her golden eyes narrowed. Noah glanced at her cobalt turquoise skin. More blue. Your medical vocabulary is extraordinary. Community college. She finally took the heater pack. Warm light from its indicator reflected across her fingers. Noah leaned back against the metal wall. The cold pressed through his jacket. Seraya watched him. You keep repairing things. Occupational problem. The oxygen valve. The heater. This station. They pay me. You repaired the heater before I knew your name. Noah looked at the compartment ceiling. It was making a bad noise. And you are hiding me without payment. You also make bad noises. Seraya's temple markings flashed brighter. Noah laughed quietly. This time, she almost did too. The sound never fully escaped her, but he saw it in the small movement at the corner of her mouth. Then the temperature display dropped to 49 degrees. Noah stopped smiling. That is fast. He opened the compartment control panel. Thermal circulation offline. Manual restart required. External access only. Problem? Seraya asked. Depends how attached you are to being warm. Very. Noah checked the scan timer. 8 minutes. The external restart switch was 20 feet down the corridor. I can reset circulation before the next bioscan. Seraya shook her head. You will be detected. Not if I am quick. Your species appears to confuse confidence with mathematics. Noah reached for the door release. Seraya caught his wrist. Her hand was warmer now from the thermal pack. He looked down at her fingers, then at her face. The 3 rings in her eyes had widened. Do not go, she said. The words were quiet. Not an Imperial order. Noah slowly removed his hand from the release. All right. Seraya let go of his wrist. The absence of her hand felt strangely colder than the compartment. Noah sat back down. 17 inches. 44% oxygen. 48 degrees Fahrenheit. 7 minutes until the next scan. Seraya held the only heater between her hands. After a moment, she placed it on the narrow floor exactly halfway between them. Noah looked at it. That is not how thermal packs work. It is how this one works now. Noah looked at Seraya. She looked back. Outside, the Imperial fleet searched an entire station for its future ruler. Inside 17 inches of cold air, Noah began to suspect Seraya was learning how to make decisions. The next bioscan passed without finding them. Noah knew because the blue light beneath the compartment door moved on, and Seraya finally stopped holding her breath. Oxygen reserve had fallen to 39%. Temperature sat at 47 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermal pack between them was losing heat. We cannot remain here, Seraya said. That was my professional assessment 20 minutes ago. You wanted to leave 7 minutes ago. And somebody grabbed my wrist. The silver lines at her temples brightened. You agreed to stay. I am very cooperative under royal pressure. Seraya looked away, but Noah caught the smallest movement at the corner of her mouth. He opened the control panel again. The external thermal restart remained offline. There was another route to the atmospheric maintenance hub, but reaching it required crossing a public transit corridor. Imperial scanners covered every entrance. Noah closed the panel. We wait one more sweep, then move. Where? My primary scrubber room. Is it comfortable? No. Warm. Sometimes. Your species has low standards. We call it character. Silence returned. Not the uncomfortable kind. Noah had spent years inside maintenance spaces where the only conversation came from fans, pumps, and warning tones. He understood mechanical silence. This one was different. Seraya held her hands near the fading thermal pack. Her golden eyes rested on nothing. What happens during ascension? Noah asked. Her 3 iris rings tightened. I become Imperial Regent after my father's formal transfer of authority. That is the ceremony. Yes. I asked what happens to you. Seraya slowly looked at him. Noah waited. My schedule becomes permanent, she said. My meals are selected according to metabolic optimization. My educational review continues twice each week. Council observers attend private diplomatic meetings. My travel requires unanimous security approval. Sounds relaxing. I have been prepared since childhood. That was not what I said. Her temple markings dimmed. Noah leaned his head against the cold wall. What about friends? Approved associations. Vacation? Ceremonial travel periods. Dating? Seraya's expression changed. I do not know that word. Spending time with someone because you like them. For what political purpose? Noah stared at her. That might be the saddest question I have heard all year. My bond partner has already been selected. Right. The almost marriage. Your terminology remains inaccurate. Is he nice? Seraya was silent. You have met him, right? Noah asked. 4 times. 4. Our genetic compatibility is excellent. That was not my question. Seraya's eyes lowered to the heater pack. Noah watched the pale light move across her strange, beautiful face. He remembered her image on every station screen. Imperial successor. 1,206 worlds. A person measured in planets. Seraya, he said, what do you want? She did not answer. Noah waited. 5 seconds. 10. He checked his wrist display, wondering if the translator had failed. Seraya? Her eyes lifted. All 3 golden rings were wide. No one has ever asked me that. Noah forgot the oxygen gauge. Forgot the Imperial scanners. Forgot the cold pressing through his jacket. Seriously? My preferences are recorded when operationally relevant. That is not the same thing. I know. Her voice was almost a whisper. Noah could have filled the silence. He usually did. Instead, he waited. Seraya looked at the compartment door. Then at her hands. Then at Noah. I wanted to see Earth rain. Noah blinked. Rain? Actual rain. Not atmospheric simulation. You crossed half a solar system for weather? When you say it that way, it sounds irrational. It is rain. It is mostly inconvenient. I have watched recordings. Recordings leave out wet socks. Seraya's temple lines warmed to a pale gold. Noah smiled. Pacific Northwest. You would love it for about 6 minutes. You have seen it? I grew up in Oregon. And you left? Noah glanced around the freezing compartment. I make excellent decisions. This time Seraya laughed. Quiet. Brief. Real. Noah felt the sound more than he heard it. The bioscan timer flashed. 2 minutes. He reached for the door release. Seraya looked at him. Where are we going? To restart the thermal system. And after that? Noah paused. He thought of rain against apartment windows. Gray Oregon mornings. Water running from rooftops. Ordinary things he had never considered worth crossing a solar system to see. After that, he said, we figure out how to get you to Earth. Seraya stared at him. Why? Noah opened the compartment door 1 inch and checked the corridor. Because you answered the question. He slipped outside. Behind him, Seraya followed. For the first time since the Imperial fleet arrived, the lines along her face were not glowing with fear. The thermal system restarted with a sound like a tired engine remembering its job. Warm air moved through the lower maintenance ring, and Noah watched the temperature climb from 46 degrees Fahrenheit to 52. Beautiful, he whispered. Seraya stood beside the circulation panel, studying the vibration in the pipes. It is loud. That is the sound of success. Averin Engineering is silent. Averin Engineering has a fleet outside. Seraya looked at him. Noah tightened the final access screw. Point for Earth. They had 11 minutes before the next bioscan reached the maintenance hub. Noah packed his tools while Seraya watched the corridor. The pale lines along her temples remained gold. He was beginning to dislike how quickly he could read them. Blue-white meant fear. Bright silver meant irritation. Gold meant something he had not named yet. Curiosity, maybe. Or comfort. Noah preferred machinery. Machinery came with manuals. There is something you should know, Seraya said. Noah stopped. That sentence has not gone well for me tonight. The Imperial Council does not prohibit all interspecies bonds. Okay. There are 94 recognized compatible civilizations within Averin law. Noah closed his tool pouch. Congratulations to them. Seraya did not smile. The restriction is specific to humans. Noah looked at her. That feels rude. 140 years ago, an Averin heir abandoned succession after forming an emotional bond with a human. So your government banned humans? The council classified the event as human emotional contamination. Noah stared at her for 3 full seconds. Then he laughed. He tried not to. He failed. I am sorry. Seraya's temple lines flashed silver. You find this amusing? Human emotional contamination? Noah leaned against the circulation unit. That is the dumbest thing I have heard all week, And yesterday a supervisor told me oxygen loss was a scheduling issue. The law has remained active for 14 decades. That does not make it smarter. Seraya stepped closer. You do not understand. The Council believes humans alter aberrant decision patterns. How? You encourage individual preference. Noah blinked. That is illegal? For an Imperial successor, preference is considered a vulnerability. The humor left him. Seraya looked down at her silver wristband. The previous heir was offered every political concession. Territory. Wealth. Ceremonial authority. He refused. Because of one human? Because the human asked him what life he wanted. Noah became very still. The circulation pump hummed behind him. He remembered the thermal compartment. Seraya's face when he asked the same question. No one has ever asked me that. You knew, he said. Seraya's golden eyes lifted. Knew what? When I asked you. Her temple lines dimmed. I knew the history. And you did not think that was worth mentioning? You had just criticized my government, my education, my bond partner, and my understanding of coffee. The coffee criticism was mutual. Noah. He looked away. Through a narrow maintenance window, earth filled half the sky. White clouds curved over blue water. Somewhere beneath those clouds, rain was falling. They believe humans make you choose, Noah said. Yes. We cannot make you choose. Seraya's voice softened. I know. Noah looked back at her. The gold lines at her temples brightened. That is what frightens them. The distance between them was less than 3 feet. Noah noticed because his mind had become irritatingly interested in distance. Seraya's strange golden eyes held his. 3 rings. 3 slow contractions. He wondered whether Averin had a word for the moment when a conversation became something else. His wrist alarm sounded. Bioscan approach, 90 seconds. Noah exhaled. Saved by invasive government surveillance. Seraya's expression changed. Saved? Figure of speech. He reached for the maintenance hatch. Seraya caught his sleeve. Not his wrist this time. Just the fabric. Noah. He looked at her hand. Then her face. If they find me, you must say I forced you to help. You are 5 feet 10 inches tall and currently wearing one of my spare work jackets. I am serious. So am I. Nobody will believe you planned this. Your life could be changed because of me. Noah thought about the vending machine. The heater. The same 8-year-old boots. His apartment with 1 chair because nobody stayed long enough to need another. Then he thought about Seraya returning to 1200 worlds where no one had ever asked what she wanted. Something inside him tightened. Maybe it needs changing, he said. Seraya's fingers remained on his sleeve. The gold light along her temples became warmer. Noah opened the hatch before he could think too carefully about that color. They slipped into the service corridor as blue scanner light appeared around the far corner. Noah led her toward the atmospheric hub. Behind them, a station terminal suddenly activated. 1 line appeared across its screen. Control subject Carter, contact duration exceeds predicted limit. Noah did not see it. Seraya did not see it. But somewhere aboard the Imperial command vessel, someone was already recording every choice they made. Noah discovered he was an experiment because a carbon scrubber lied to him. Unit 7 reported 98% efficiency while its exhaust temperature sat 11 degrees too high. Machines could hide problems from supervisors. They could not hide them from Noah. He opened the diagnostic history and found an encrypted process using 4% of the scrubber's memory. That is not atmospheric software, he whispered. Seraya stood near the maintenance door, listening for scanners. What did you find? Something expensive pretending to be boring. Noah connected his terminal. The encryption rejected him twice. On the third attempt, he routed access through an obsolete Earth pressure calibration protocol. The hidden file opened. Control Subject Carter. Noah stopped breathing. Seraya moved beside him. The display filled with records. Noah Carter. Age 24. Atmospheric Maintenance Technician. Unmarried. No military affiliation. Low political influence. Routine behavioral profile. Routine, Noah said. That hurts. Seraya did not answer. He scrolled. Contact environment, Horizon 9. Subject selection basis, ordinary human social pattern. Expected successor response, disinterest. Noah read the final line twice. Then he looked at Seraya. I am an exam. The gold light along her temples disappeared. Noah. They knew you were coming to Earth. More files opened. Seraya's diplomatic courier route. Deliberately weakened security checkpoints. A cargo transfer directed toward Horizon 9. Even the maintenance fault that had brought Noah to the oxygen valve had been scheduled remotely. Noah felt the station become colder, though the thermal system was holding at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. They put me behind that wall, Seraya whispered. Close enough. Noah kept reading. The council had predicted she would encounter a human within 6 hours. They had selected Noah because he was ordinary. Replaceable. Politically harmless. A safe test of an old law. Control subject, he said. Seraya reached toward him. Noah stepped back before her hand arrived. Her fingers stopped in the air. Did you know? He asked. No. Did you know there was a test? Noah, look at me. I am looking. Her three-ringed eyes held his. I did not know. Noah wanted to believe her immediately. That was the problem. 12 hours ago, Seraya had been a voice inside a wall. Now he knew how her face changed when she was cold. He knew silver meant irritation and blue-white meant fear. He knew she wanted earth rain. Somewhere between a broken heater and 17 inches of air, she had become familiar. Dangerous in a way no Imperial law could properly explain. Noah turned back to the screen. So what happens if you pass? Seraya read the next file. Her expression hardened. Successor resistance confirmed. Ascension eligibility maintained upon voluntary separation from human subject. You go home, Noah said. No. You complete ascension. Noah. 1,206 worlds get their ruler, and the council writes a report saying humans are not emotionally contagious. Stop. Noah closed the file. Sounds efficient. Seraya stepped between him and the console. You were an exam. Her voice was quiet. Were? Yes. Noah looked at her. The gold lines along her temples returned, faint and unsteady. Then you asked what I wanted. The station noise seemed to fade. Noah remembered Oregon rain against his childhood window. He imagined Seraya standing beneath it, looking upward with those impossible golden eyes. Then he imagined her returning to the Imperial capital. Approved meals. Approved conversations. A bond partner she had met 4 times. A life scheduled 12 years in advance. The thought made Horizon 9 feel colder than vacuum. Noah understood machines because broken systems announced themselves eventually. A vibration. A pressure change. Heat where heat should not exist. His own warning had been there for hours. The way he counted the colors in Seraya's temple markings. The way he noticed when she said his name. The way the idea of never hearing her laugh again suddenly felt like losing air. Oh, Noah whispered. Seraya tilted her head. What? Nothing. You are a poor liar. Noah almost smiled. I learned from royalty. A station-wide chime interrupted them. Every maintenance display turned silver. A single message appeared. Imperial Regent arrival confirmed. Personal audience required. Saraya's face went still. My father. Noah looked through the small observation window. An enormous Averin vessel moved across Earth's curve, larger than anything else in orbit. Seraya stood beside him, close enough that her sleeve touched his. Noah finally understood why the council had chosen an ordinary human. They thought ordinary meant harmless. They had never considered what one ordinary person could become when someone mattered to him. The Imperial Regent did not arrive with guards. That frightened Noah more than guards would have. The doors to Horizon 9's atmospheric hub opened at 9:06 in the morning, and one Averin male stepped through alone. He was tall, even by Saraya's standards, with dark cobalt skin and silver markings that formed perfect lines across his temples. His black ceremonial clothing reflected almost no light. Seraya stood beside Noah. Her shoulder was rigid. The regent looked at his daughter first. Then Noah. Noah Carter, he said. Noah glanced at Seraya. Everybody knows my name today. The regent's expression did not change. You were selected because you were statistically ordinary. Yeah. I read the review. You were not intended to become relevant. That part was clear too. Noah, Seraya warned softly. The regent lifted one hand. Let him speak. Humans appear to value the practice. Noah folded his arms. We also value not being used as control subjects. Your station suffered no permanent damage. That is not an apology. It was not intended as one. Seraya stepped forward. Father, end the blockade. The regent looked at her. Return with me. No. The word entered the room quietly. Noah felt it anyway. The silver markings on the regent's face remained unchanged. Your ascension remains available, he said. The council has reviewed the data. Your initial contact with the human was engineered, but your final decision may still demonstrate appropriate Imperial discipline. Noah understood before Seraya asked. What decision? The regent turned toward him. Voluntary separation. Noah felt Seraya go still beside him. She returns to Averin space, the regent continued. The human remains here. No criminal classification. No public record of his involvement. Horizon 9 resumes normal operation. And Seraya? Noah asked. Ascends. 1,206 worlds, Seraya whispered. Her father nodded. Your inheritance. Your duty. Your name will remain in Imperial history for millennia. Noah looked at her. The gold lines along her temples had vanished. He remembered the thermal compartment. No one has ever asked me that. He remembered rain. Approved meals. 4 meetings with a future bond partner. Noah stepped backward. Seraya turned sharply. Noah? Go. Her 3 iris rings widened. What? Go with him. You do not mean that. I am one guy who fixes air filters. Noah forced a smile. It felt wrong on his face. This is a terrible trade. Seraya stared at him. You believe that is your decision? I am trying to make this easier. For whom? Noah had no answer. Seraya stepped closer. You asked what I wanted. I know. Then listen. She turned toward her father. Slowly, Seraya raised her left wrist. The silver succession band caught the white station light. Noah had seen it the first moment he opened the maintenance hatch. He had thought it was a lock. Maybe it always had been. Seraya touched 2 fingers to the band. A soft tone sounded. The metal opened. The regent's temple markings flashed once. Seraya. She removed the band. You gave me an empire before I could speak. Her father remained still. Seraya held the silver band in her palm. You selected my education before I could read. My bond partner before I understood affection. My future before I understood time. You were prepared to rule. I was prepared to obey. The room became silent except for the steady movement of air through Noah's scrubbers. Seraya walked toward her father. She placed the succession band in his hand. He gave me a question. The regent looked at Noah. Noah forgot how to breathe. Seraya turned. Her golden eyes found his. The lines along her temples warmed slowly from silver to gold. Seraya, the regent said, if you remain, your succession rights will be dissolved. Your royal genetic status will be removed. Return to the Averan capital may be permanently restricted. Seraya walked back toward Noah. One step. Then another. I understand. You are choosing one human over 1,200 worlds. Noah shook his head. Seraya, you do not have to do this. She stopped beside him. That is the first thing you still do not understand about me. Noah looked at her. Seraya reached for his hand. Her fingers closed around his. Warm. Certain. I know I do not have to. She faced her father. That is why it is a choice. The regent stared at their joined hands. Noah expected an order. A threat. Some imperial sentence designed by people who measured lives in policy. Instead, the older Averan closed his fingers around the succession band. Then your answer is recorded. Seraya lifted her chin. Good. The regent turned and walked toward the doors. Before leaving, he paused. For the historical record, Seraya Venn, state your choice. Seraya looked at Noah. Not the technician profile. Not the control subject. Noah. I choose my answer, she said. The doors closed behind her father. Noah and Seraya remained beneath the ordinary white lights of the atmospheric hub. 1,200 worlds had just moved beyond her reach. Noah looked down at their hands. You know, he said quietly, Oregon rain is mostly cold. Seraya's temple lines glowed gold. It had better be worth it. Noah smiled. No pressure. 6 months later, Seraya discovered that Earth rain was colder than Noah had promised. You said 48 degrees Fahrenheit was mild, she called from the walkway. Noah stood beneath the entrance canopy of the Cascadia Atmospheric Research Facility, holding 2 cups of coffee and an umbrella. Rain moved across the Oregon coast in silver sheets, tapping against metal roofs and dark evergreen branches. For Oregon, it is. Your planet has dishonest weather. We put it in the tourism brochures. Seraya stood 20 feet away with her face tilted toward the gray sky. Water ran through her silver-white hair and across cobalt turquoise skin. The 3 golden rings in her eyes widened each time a drop touched her eyelashes. Her temple markings glowed softly gold. Noah watched her longer than he intended. 6 months had changed some things. Seraya no longer wore the succession band. The pale line around her wrist had faded after 3 weeks. Her dark imperial clothing had been replaced by a blue rain jacket she had selected herself after spending 47 minutes comparing pockets. Noah had learned not to mention that royal education apparently did not include efficient shopping. Seraya had learned that $9 station coffee was not the worst coffee humans could produce. The research facility paid Noah to maintain atmospheric sampling systems, which meant he still repaired filters, argued with pressure sensors, and drank beverages that disappointed both species. Seraya worked with the Cultural Exchange Office 3 days each week. The other 4 days, she said, were hers. The first time she said that, Noah had needed a moment. Mine. Such a small human word. Such an enormous Averin rebellion. You are getting soaked, Noah called. I know. I brought an umbrella. I can see it. You are supposed to stand under it. Seraya looked at him. Why? Noah opened his mouth. Closed it. That is annoyingly fair. He walked into the rain. Cold water immediately found the back of his neck. Okay. This was a bad choice. Seraya smiled. You encourage individual preference. I regret everything. Noah stopped beside her and held out one coffee. Seraya accepted it, took a careful drink, and made the same offended expression she had made on Horizon 9. Terrible. You keep drinking it. I am studying human suffering. Noah laughed. Rain collected on his dark brown hair and ran into his eyes. He wiped it away. Beyond the facility, low clouds covered the mountains. The air smelled like wet soil, cedar, and cold ocean wind. Seraya turned slowly, taking in everything. Is this what you remembered? She asked. Noah looked around. Mostly. The recordings were quieter. Recordings leave out wet socks. Her temple lines brightened. You warned me. I am very wise. You once repaired a thermal regulator with adhesive tape. Good adhesive tape. They stood in silence. Noah had learned that silence with Seraya was different now. On Horizon 9, every quiet moment had carried scanners, oxygen percentages, or Imperial decisions. Here, silence was simply rain. Seraya placed her coffee on the railing. Noah. Yeah? Do you ever think I made the wrong choice? The question landed softly. Noah looked at her. For 6 months, reporters had asked versions of it. Diplomats had asked. Averin historians had sent formal inquiries. One human versus 1,200 worlds. Everyone wanted the mathematics. Noah hated the mathematics. Sometimes, he said. Seraya's golden eyes narrowed. That was not the answer I expected. You gave up a lot. Yes. I fix air filters. You mention that frequently. It is my strongest argument. Seraya stepped closer. Then ask me. Noah understood. Rain moved between them. He looked at the alien girl who had once hidden behind his oxygen valve. The former Imperial successor who had crossed half a solar system because she wanted to see water fall from an Earth sky. What do you want? He asked. Seraya smiled. No hesitation this time. This. She took his hand. Noah looked at their joined fingers. Very specific. I have been practicing. He squeezed her hand. You finally saw Earth rain. Seraya tilted her face toward the sky. No. Noah waited. She looked back at him. Gold light moved gently along her temples. I finally chose to. Noah stood beside her while the rain soaked through his jacket and ruined whatever remained of his coffee. He did not care. Seraya had given up an empire of 1,200 worlds. Not because a human asked her to. Not because he rescued her. Not because love demanded a sacrifice. She chose one ordinary Earth boy because he had been the first person in her life to ask a simple question and wait long enough to hear the answer. Under the cold Oregon rain, Noah finally understood something the Averin Empire had feared for 140 years. Humans did not make people choose. Sometimes, they simply reminded them that they could.